Get ready to play hardball in the Kingdom.
Take me to the ball game. I want to see the Ants. The Mariners are playing hardball. Did it again and again and again. Did it again.
Princess Tours, the vacation company, brings you the best show in baseball when the San Diego Chicken plays hardball with the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles tonight in the Kingdom.
What up? This is Myron, and you are listening or watching on YouTube the Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast. The down on the docks, on the other side of the tracks, 5-star dive bar, up and about your beloved Seattle Mariners. And I'm going to thank you right now for liking and subscribing. That shit helps us out. It really does. So just do it. Help us out. We're pandering here for it. Anyways, big news coming from last week, over the weekend. Could not sleep, could not stop talking about it. Mariners make their biggest signing. This is a fact. This is all facts here. This is the biggest signing the Mariners have made all offseason, bringing back Jorge Polanco. A lot of mixed feelings about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see what people on Twitter are talking about it. That's always a positive place to go, right? And also the Mariners have announced their non-roster invitees, prospects, journeymen. We're going to look at that list. I'm doing this recording right now in lovely, cold as fuck, Indianapolis, Indiana, site of the 2025 WWE Royal Rumble. So if you are a wrestling fan, I will save that to the end. You're just going to have to get through all of this Mariner trudge to get to the fun wrestling stuff. If you don't like wrestling, well, here's the good news. You can turn the episode off when we get to that point. We'll save that to the end. Anyways, with that being said, also remember, if you want that rye bread gear, if you want that street cred for rocking the rye bread, hit up at simply.cora. That's at simply.cora. Also, if you're looking for any MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, any pro city sports shit, and you see those fun, ironic stuff, you know, like the hot dogs for heaven shirts. Well, guess what? I'll tell you where you get them. You get them at the Clutch Apparel, which you can also put in the promo code Rye Bread and Mustard. Save yourself a whole lot of money. Anyways, I am here doing this episode from the lovely Candlewood Suites in the business center because we got some Mariner business to talk about. And my co-host today with me here in the Candlewood Suites and in business center is our man from the Valley of the Sun, CJ. What's going on, CJ?
What's up, everybody? I'm cold.
You are cold. You've been very cold. You came here straight from Scottsdale, Arizona. How's the shock to your body?
Man, it's crazy. Got thin blood now, I think, coming out here. I'm bundled up. Feel like I need to be going snowboarding. Bring more clothes, more layers. Definitely cold, but getting through it.
I got a little bit lucky because I went from LA to Seattle, so I kind of had like a little bit of a warm up. But Seattle does not have this wind chill like it does here in Indiana. It fucking bites.
Yeah, you have to be careful where you're walking downtown because you go around the corner and you get hit by the wind chill and it's blustery and your face is basically falling off because you're so frozen. So you gotta get the towel like Mr. Perfect, like you got from the hotel room. Put that around your neck, keep warm, and duck in and out of bars and restaurants to get warm, and then keep walking.
Yeah, you got to have money to stay warm here because it's like anytime you're like, we need to warm up, you go in somewhere and it's a $50 hit, right? Yeah, so we're here, had a lot of fun here at the Royal Rumble, taking our minds off of it. We know the big story in the sports news we thought was maybe this Luka to the Lakers, or what happened here at the Royal Rumble. Lots of big surprises, but no, like we said here at the top, Jorge Polanco once again a Mariner. What's your initial thoughts on that?
Just a massive signing. I mean, it's huge. I think the moving him to third apparently will help him hit better in a park. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's you're hoping for something big, and this is what we get. We get Jorge Polanco.
I'll say what I said last year, like when we first got him. This is a huge signing. ... If it was 2021. He's a guy who's always been on the radar. Now we had him. We got to look under the hood last year. Seemed like that deep tissue issue was coming back on him. His range was not there. We saw sparks of what he can do. I know he can do it from both sides of the plate. Maybe with Edgar, maybe with Kevin Seitzer in this new hitting team. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I know Jorge, I believe if we look it up, I think last year, or going into this year, I should say, he was supposed to make around like $12 million or something. That's the option that they said no to. So they saved themselves about $4 million or so.
7.75 or something.
Yeah. And the contract is structured a little bit differently. I know there's incentives for the next season and things like that. Yeah. I feel like if we would have just held on to Jorge, it doesn't feel as weird. But it also makes me kind of scared of like, well, who else are we going to bring back? Dare I say, we still kind of need a first baseman. That's it's not there yet, right? I mean, you can kind of piece together. We look at the probable lineup, and right now you have Luke Raley as your starting first baseman for opening day. Love Luke Raley, like what he does, but again, he's one of those players that you're not really don't feel that safe of being like you're playing 162 days at first base. And then you look at the first basemen that are still out there. Of course, Pete Alonso, a little bit, that price tag is just not going to work. You have Yuri Gurriel, 41 years old. Yeah, you have the 40-year-old Justin Turner, which seems like that would fit. I think he's still just waiting to see if he can get on the Dodgers some way, somehow, even as another interpreter. If that doesn't happen, I can maybe see the Mariners picking him up. I also see, and I dare to say, like I was saying, Ty France on the list. How are you feeling about first base?
Yeah, it's tough. I think I was thinking internally of, do you just see all the names coming off the list throughout the offseason? And I don't know. I mean, I guess Luke Riley is kind of our go-to right now. I mean, potentially Justin Turner if he doesn't sign with the Dodgers. I mean, there's always Daniel Vogelbach. We could bring the big man back. I mean, based on how we're signing currently, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, maybe there's someone in the farm system too. We have one of the best farm systems. So I think there's a lot of thought around we're going to groom the guys and bring them up maybe mid-season or something. But I know it's tough. I mean, there's not a lot out there.
Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast.
We have the one and only
Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast.
We have the one and only Mr. Tom Hutler. Do you have any of your favorite stories from the Kingdom?
There was a time we had an earthquake, and so they were going to evacuate the building. So I was like getting up to go and leave. And they go, "No, you can't go. You got to read these safety things." It's like,
do we need to tell them that there's smoking's only on the exterior ramps?
Yeah. And Dave came shooting past. He signed off. I'm going, wait, I'm the only one here.
Listen and subscribe to Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast, wherever you get your podcast.
JP Crawford. We've been pretty critical just because of all the shortstops and up the middle guys that have been available the last few years. What do you think about JP Crawford?
I think he can't hit for shit. Remember, I was killing Ty France 2 years on the podcast. The minute, and Myron kept sticking up for him, I'm like, this guy is a bust.
Thank you.
The minute you guys got rid of him, I turned my sights straight to JP Crawford, and I'm like, dude, he's next. And he's a defensive replacement, short bench guy at best. This guy can't hit, and he's never going to hit.
He had one good year for us a couple years ago, had some pop. I mean, just really looked like he figured it out, and then he reverted back last year.
If you're looking for just a glove, you could find those guys and pay him nothing. You know, he was hitting like what 209.
I don't even want to look up his stats. It's
I mean, dude,
depressing.
you could find. I could just give me 48 hours in a minivan in Venezuela. I'll find you a shortstop.
Yeah. But before we get back to, I should probably take this back to Jorge. With Jorge Polanco playing third base, you would assume he's going to be pretty much your everyday third baseman. I mean, you're not going to spend half of your speculated, reported, payroll and then not have him play every single day. So as far as third base, sure, you got that covered. I'm not so against this, and I'm not so up in arms about it with the Mariners dealing with the small payroll. I'm actually okay with this. And maybe last year coming off of the injuries, I know he had some injuries that he had to deal with in the offseason this year as well. I just wonder if, again, the Mariners, not wonder, this is what they do. I should just say this. This is what they do. They buy low and they wish for the stars.
Yeah.
And the track record's not that great.
Yeah. And has he ever played third in his career?
I think he's played, without looking, just from what I've heard, about 20 or 30 games at third base.
Perfect.
But the range was too much for him at second base. We saw that last year.
Yep.
Whether it was Bliss out there, Dylan Moore, Leo Rivas, anybody else that was out there defensively, it looked just better than Jorge Polanco.
On both sides, on the field and at the plate.
True. So where do you fall this now? It kind of starts to sound like you might be like just not excited about it.
Well, I mean, considering what we had at third base, which was nothing, I guess we kick the tires on something that we drove last year and see what happens and hope for the best.
Yeah, I've heard the argument too of like, well, why didn't we just get Josh Rojas back or bring him back? Because I think he was going to be somewhere around like $5 million, right? Or $4 or $5 million, whatever $6, I don't know. Somewhere in that range was what we did. And that was cheaper. But I do feel like Jorge Polanco has far more to give to a team than Josh Rojas. I know Rojas played great defense last year, but after that first month, I think he was the worst hitting third baseman in all of baseball. Baseball nerds out there, go back to see if I'm full of shit, but I'm pretty sure he was the worst hitting third baseman in all of baseball, including the Japanese leagues, including the Sunday has-been leagues. All right. I'm just take my word for it.
Yeah. Rojas signed $3.5 million with the White Sox.
Okay, so exactly half as much as Polanco. Well, I also just want to go, just for fun here, let's just go on to and I'll share this. Let's just go. Let's see one of the story breakers of this. Let's go see what Divish and Adam Jude and the Seattle Times people are saying about this, or not what they're saying. Let's see what people on their threads are saying.
Best part, the comments.
That sounds like the best part of the thing. So let me pull this up right here. We'll share this on the YouTube. All right, here we go. Let's scroll back here.
Set going into spring.
Okay, here we go. Adam Jude. His post with the Mariners. With the return of Jorge Polanco, the Mariners roster is effectively set going into spring training, which he also has an article on this on Seattle Times. It's pretty good. Let's go into the comments. Check out these comments. We have, let's see, Desmond McDade. Consider me unimpressed and underwhelmed. Let's see here. Fangraph's current projection is 82.5 wins. That would be down from 85 from last year. Here we go. 509 Hawk fan. What a pathetic job done by Jerry in the front office. And then we see a meme here. It looks like an AI created picture. It is the Mariner Moose sitting on a rainy Seattle street on a bench having a some sort of moose beer.
Smoking a dart.
Yep, and smoking a dart. There we go.
Pretty much represents all Mariner fans.
Yeah. Tanya Bailey says gross. Dean Miller says, Jesus. Prestige Jones. Was this even an off season? Question mark, exclamation point, exclamation point. What the fuck, M fans? Here we go. Mariners fan 32. According to Adam Jude of the Seattle Times, the M's didn't seem to think that Tristan Casas would play in their home ballpark. I wish why they think Polanco will do better this time, or why they signed Garver when he was 0-44 in Seattle. Yes, that actually came to fruition last year. We were like, this guy has never hit in T-Mobile Park. Remember that was kind of a thing about Mitch Garver, and that seemed to just hold packed.
I think that's part of the free agent thing too. People kind of freaked out about coming to the park. It's like where hitters come to die, is what it seems like.
It is where hitters come to die. It literally is. You know, there's been some talk about why don't they move in the fences, but then it kind of hurts your pitching.
I think they already did, right?
Yeah, I do think they moved in the fences there to make Edgar's Cantina.
Yeah,
great move. Love the place. Shout out to Tim. Let's see, Randolph Smirnoff. That's a cool name, if it's real. The following is not a serious statement. Quote, entering the offseason, the Mariners plan to employ Moore as a regular at either second or third base. No, they didn't. And they still do not intend to, as he's a career 193, 644 OPS guy against right-handed pitching. He's a utility platoon guy. I agree that Dylan Moore, look, he's got the Gold Glove, but yes, he is a fill-in platoon guy. We've talked about it. You play him 162, it's not going to end well. What's your thoughts on Dylan Moore, CJ?
Yeah, I think he's a platoon guy. He can play anywhere, so he is an asset in that sense. To me, it almost feels like if we gave up on him or we let him go, he'd turn into like a Chris Taylor or something. He'd go be like a superstar on another team. Because Mariners seem to be the farm system for the rest of the league, but I don't know. I mean, Dylan Moore he served his purpose, and I think he fills in where he needs to fill in, but I don't think he's an everyday player.
Agreed. Breach. Jackson at clear lead to Tundra. So no Alonso. No, I think if you were holding on to the thought if we were going to get Alonso and then hearing that there was a $15 or $16 million proposed salary, or I should say $15 or $16 million to spend. That's what you had in your pocket to spend without a trade. That wasn't going to happen. If we were talking about going back to trading Luis Castillo, and not to, so you're not confused, listeners, we're talking about Luis Castillo, the pitcher, not Luis F. Castillo, that is invited as a non-roster invitee to spring training. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I could see you could maybe make a move for Alonso earlier on, or maybe you still could, but there has to be a trade. There has to be tons of money coming off the books to get him.
Yep.
Paul Russ, knew this was the case, but glad the FO leaked this news through you. Can't wait to hear Jerry spin his BS in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Well, he can't use this guy's been on our radar for 75 years. We're bringing back something that we got rid of.
We kicked him off the radar, and then he came back into the house.
It's like we went and dropped him off at the Goodwill, and then went back and bought him at like Buffalo Exchange or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Greg Cutler at Greg Cutler 82. They can't seriously think this is enough, can they? Question mark. Do they think they have any shot at keeping any of their young arms or Cal once they are eligible for free agency? Question mark. They are consistently going to be waiting for the next batch of prospects to fill the holes on their rosters.
Yeah, I think that's not the fear, but I mean, we have basically a World Series, set of arms, but we have no hitting, and so as if the hitters that are in our farm system mature and they get up to the big leagues, potentially we lose the pitching because they're going to be older or they digress. And so I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess, in the next 5 years. But we need something now with the type of pitching that we have.
Yeah, it kind of feels again like when we had Jared Kelnick and these other guys in the farm system, and we bring them up. What is that, 2021? And we're just like, God, let's just hope he can just pick this team and throw them on his back. We're back somewhat in that scenario with second base, right? Like with Polanco being at third, this second base is, again, if we go and look at the projected lineup for opening day, they have Dylan Moore as your opening day second baseman. And then there's this talk, well, what if Cole Young gets it together?
Yeah.
Has a huge spring, played all last year in AA, is poised to probably make the major leagues this year. But even if he does, even if he's a great prospect and can make the major leagues, what kind of impact is he going to have right away?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Man, he's a big name. I mean, Ryan Bliss is on there too. It's an opportunity that might, either split time or potentially start at second for opening day. I guess we'll see when spring comes along.
If you're a Mariners fan or the Mariners front office, this is what you're praying for, because this is pretty much it feels like your only hope right now with second base.
Second base or just hitting in general.
I like this one. Okay, we have if you're listening, Mariner Moose. It looks like he's up at Cary Park with his arms wide. It looks like a beautiful Seattle day, and the meme says, "I want to die."
Kyle Knapp, go up there right after the meme. Keep going. Yeah, that one.
Kyle Knapp at Kyle_Knapp NAP. Let me know how it goes. I haven't watched the game in 2 years and won't again this year. Well, hopefully you're listening to the podcast, but I don't blame you for not watching. Kyle Owen at Kyle Bleed Spurple.
Kyle bleeds purple.
Purple, but PRPLE.
Yeah.
Let's see if the Hope and Vibes plan works on the 10th try. Let's see. This one's pretty good. Paul McMillan at Paul T. McMillan says, at the Trident deck. What's that? Is that a new podcast? Anyways, he goes, time to give Stanton and Larson a swirly. I haven't heard that word in a long time. I wonder how old this guy is. He looks pretty young. Snow Dog, awesome. Ready to purchase season tickets. Great off season. Really excited.
I'll forward all the phone calls and emails I'm getting to you.
Now we have somebody here saying, I can't be mad at Dipoto. He's doing the best he can with no help from ownership. Ownership has tied his hands behind his back, but put lead shoes on him and asked why he can't swim. Ownership has to want to win, but right now they just treat the team like a paycheck. And that was from Aaron Shigley at Collectin Silver. And below it we have Jim Carrey meme from.
But he's not wrong, right? I mean, it's all about the ownership and the money, and it is being treated just like a business. And it just seems like they don't care if winning or losing as long as they're making a paycheck. I think the only way that we can get against it is if we don't show up to the games or the fans don't buy into it. But it's a tough call.
Yeah, there is blame that you have to point at the ownership. And you are asking Jerry to be like, you better be right on all of these bargain buys. You better be right. Because the second that they don't work out, we're going, oh, what the fuck? Right? But at the same time, all of these signings, and especially all the free agent signings in the last 3 years, you shouldn't be surprised how they turned out. I mean, they were, just a hope for the best scenario. Hope they bounce back. That's what the Mariners do. That's what Jerry's only pretty much allowed to. So there is, yes, you are right. There is some truth. Let's get a couple more of these. Here we go. Guillermo Raimundo at 12th Man Blogger. This post should unironically include a self-harm help phone number. Brightens up. But yeah, with Polanco, I'm just hoping, best case scenario, we're going to get, I don't know, 18 or 19 home runs. I know I'm thinking big here, about 69 RBIs. He hits 260. He doesn't make too many errors at third base. It'll end up being a good signing. I mean, let's just look at the projected lineup right now. I'm going to pull this up.
Mariners approved the script. We go down to Arizona, and we present the commercials to all the guys, and they all liked it. Buhner came in. He said, "Yeah, that's fun. I'll do that." Lou said, "Yeah, I'll do it but I don't want to take all damn day." So he said, "Okay, Lou, we'll get you in and out in an hour, I promise." And then Bosio and Randy came in together. So we showed Randy his commercial. We had little storyboards. There's Randy dressed as a carnival knife thrower, and he said, "Yeah, that's cool. I can do that." And Bosio liked it, and he said, "Yeah, that's really neat. What do you got for me?" And we said, "Chris, you're going to love this. You're a gruff, tough, right-handed pitcher who doesn't back down to hitters. What's the occupation you're least suited for?" And I show him the picture, a ballerina in a tutu dancing to Swan Lake. And his smile turned to a frown. He goes, "Are you effing kidding me?" Meanwhile, Randy's laughing his ass off. He goes, "Give me that thing. I'm going to hang it up in the clubhouse." And Bosio says, "The hell you are." And he takes it and he rips it in half. And he rips it in half again. And it's like, he says, "I'll do a commercial for you guys. I'm not going to do that goddamn commercial." Yes, sir. We got it. So we go back to the hotel. We have a few drinks. We try to come, because we're shooting in 2 days, come up with some ideas. So we finally come up with an idea that, again, the toughness of Bosio, but instead of a ballerina, he is a dentist who doesn't believe in Novocaine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's pulling teeth from this poor guy. But there was, and they were pretty well received, the commercials. But there was a lesson there, which is it's okay to have fun with the players, but don't make fun of them.
Let's go to Roto Champ. Let's pull up the projected lineup for the Mariners for opening day, right? Like, I know that the signing is, it's what you'd expect. Is the team better with Jorge Polanco on it? I'd say in the scope of what they had a few days ago, yes. Because I think a few days ago, Dylan Moore or Solano, who we got, or somebody like that, was going to be at third base. But let's just talk about what we do have. Let's try for a second. Let's try to suspend our minds, and let's just try to be like, all right, what do we got here? Let's see if this excites us. Opening day. I'm going to rotochamp.com. They got Victor Robles, Julio, Cal Raleigh, Randy Rosarena, Luke Raley, as we said at first base, Mitch Haniger. They have Mitch Haniger as your DH. JP Crawford, Donovan Solano, Dylan. Well, these guys haven't even updated.
Yeah,
These guys suck. Never using them again as a source.
Go to Fangraphs.
Yeah, let's get real. Let's get back to business. Fangraphs.
They also have Mitch Haniger.
All right. Damn. So they have Mitch Haniger as your starting DH. But at least they have Polanco here at third base. So they have Victor Robles in right, Julio Rodriguez in center, Kyle Raleigh behind the plate, left field Randy Rosarena, first base Luke Raley, DH Mitch Haniger, JP Crawford at short, Jorge Polanco at third, Dylan Moore at second. I don't know why you'd have Polanco behind JP Crawford, but anyways, it seems like all of these fan graphs and and stat, roto, nerd shit, these projection simulators all have Mitch Haniger over Mitch Garver, which is
Well, they're
interesting.
interchangeable, Mitches.
Interchangeable strikeouts.
They
Yeah,
have Canzone on the bench, so he's still with the team.
yeah, I was wondering if he was still on the team. He is. Let's see. Sport. If you go over to Seattle Times, they have 2 articles, one by Adam Jude, one by Matt Calkins. I'm going to look at the Adam Jude one first because it does have his projected lineup, and the title is "What Jorge Polanco's Return." His title says, "What Jorge Polanco's return means for the Mariners roster," and he does have a projected lineup. Theirs is Victor Robles, Julio, Cal Raleigh, Randy Arozarena, Luke Raley. That's where everybody seems like that's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not bad. Then they have Jorge Polanco hitting 6, Donovan Solano as the DH, JP Crawford, Dylan Moore. See, I would give this Donovan Solano guy who's hit statistically in the 280s most of his career the DH spot over Haniger or Garver, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think I would too. Which is, I think, probably the thought is the amount of money they're giving the Mitches that they want to give them a chance and see if they can turn it around.
And that's just a sign of a losing organization.
Yeah.
I mean, the good organizations just get rid of people. We see the Houston Astros. I don't know. They've been in the ALCS, every year for the last 100 years, except for last year. They're in the playoffs every year. They gave a lot of money to Jose Abreu. It just didn't work out. They gave him a shot in 2023. They even sent him to get some work last year in 2024. And then they just finally just said, all right, enough's enough. We're just going to cut our losses. The Mariners don't seem to ever do that.
No. I look at this lineup and it reminds me of like a little league lineup where you're putting all the bad hitters at the end and it's like auto outs. You just wait for the leadoff batter to get back to the plate.
Yeah, it is like this. If you see the 6, 7, 8, 9 of the Mariners coming up, it's probably a good time to head to the bathrooms, get something to eat. But then you get to the aisleway and you realize, oh, everybody felt that way.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they prove us wrong. But I mean, that's just how, based on what we're used to and what we've seen, with not much change. But who knows? Cautiously optimistic, right?
Yes. So talking about optimistic, again, we'll keep saying this. How optimistic, and I want to ask you this, how optimistic are you about Julio Rodriguez having a better year than he has the last 2 years, especially last year, especially with the consistency?
Well, I mean, all of my hope is for him to have a comeback year. Right? I think everything is pointing to him having a comeback year, but I mean, it's obviously it's on him. I see it happening. I think we all hope that happens, and I hope it does. Right? I mean, I want him to be like the Griffey of the Mariners, be the face of the franchise. But in the last year and a half, it hasn't been that, and so it's a new season, a new start, and let's hope that he gets off to a hot start and it's not just a 1 month thing and tails off. I mean, if Victor can keep hitting well, and Cal and Randy, so then we can protect him, on both sides. I think that will help. So he's not just the lone guy who's expected to do everything. So, like the 1, 2, 3, 4 hitters, hopefully can give him some protection. But I mean, we'll have to see when the season starts. But everything I've been reading and what I can hope internally is that he does have a breakout season, or at least a bounce back season.
I do too. I just kind of, at this point in his career, this will be his 4th season. It kind of feels like if you don't see a bigger breakout, this is kind of what you're going to get.
Yep.
And kind of what you're going to get isn't a bad, I'm not complaining, but I just feel like we crowned him far too early.
Yeah, and let's hope that him working closer with Egger will help kind of the not swinging from his ass on every pitch, being a little bit more patient, maybe not having to hit the home run ball every time. Like maybe all those kind of swing thoughts are coming through in this offseason work with Egger and during the season.
You're right. I agree with this whole new hitting squad they have put together, that Dan Wilson has put together. The offensive coordinator and the extra hitting coaches, I'm not so much a big fan of, but as long as Edgar's the man in charge of all that, I'm totally fine and excited to see how that is from the start. As far as Julio, I think his consistency in the clutch, big moments in the games is the biggest thing that he needs to improve. He's not known as a big clutch guy. He had one big game-winning clutch hit last year, I believe, out of many. Maybe he had another one. If you know, let us know in the comments. But I can count them on 2 or 3 fingers. And that is where I hope Julio and Dan Wilson and Kevin Seitzer, who's also knows his hitting, can really work with Julio in those moments. The guy, I think that's an X factor on the current roster that we have. If he can be better than he was in 2024, which he has in the past, and that is Randy Arozarena. I was high on getting him, was asking for him for a couple of years. He had a down year last year, and at times, sometimes his body language didn't seem like he wanted to be here, but I guess maybe that's just getting to know who Randy is. If Randy can make it Randy land, I think that is my biggest current roster X factor guy that can make things a lot different. I know that all these projected lineups have him as a 4 hitter. It'd be great if we could get another big hitter in here. I don't think he's a 4 hitter. I think he's a nice number 2, but I know you got Julio there, but definitely a top of the lineup guy. But the guy plays great defense. He can take over games. I really like when he's on and his mojo is going. You can tell how he can throw a team on his back and carry it. We've seen it for a few years down in Tampa Bay. That's the guy I really want to see. And then I think if that happens, and if you could get him and Julio to have big bounce back years, and you have Victor Robles somewhat carry over what he was doing, I think to expect what he was doing to be like this through an entire next season is a lot to ask. But again, this is somebody that has, was projected to be this good.
Right. Yep. And I think it has the real potential to being that fun factory. I think that's something that came from who said that. I mean, there was a T-shirt that was a fun factory, but I mean, like Randy and his energy, and if we're winning and he's energized, and that will feed into Julio and he's energized. I think that's just like from a clubhouse perspective and the energy levels, that makes baseball fun and like people wanting to see that. And I think they'll play for each other. And so it's that also not only performing, but the energy level they both can bring to the rest of the team, I think is huge.
Yeah, I feel like the straw that is going to stir the drink is this Mariners outfield. I mean, we want to sit around like we just did here to start off the show. We talked the Polanco thing, but the positive stuff that you do have here, you do have an outfield that is set. And you also have Luke Raley as a rotational outfielder. If you need a defensive pick-me-up, you have Dylan Moore. Solid. Speed, power, experience, defense. I am happy with this Mariners outfield. So that is something that I'm looking forward to. Cal Raleigh. I think the biggest thing with Cal Raleigh is, can we expect what we've been getting from him? Man, I hope so. But where's that wear and tear when is that wear and tear gonna kick in? And what kind of backup catcher situation do we have right now? I guess it's Garver. So let's hope Garver can actually at least hit, I don't know, 210. If that happens, I think you're going to get an even better Cal Raleigh this year, because look how much he had to play. Sure, he wants to play every day, but let's get realistic. If you're going to be playing at this pace behind the plate like that, you're going to burn that candle out. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, and potentially, with Harry Ford down in the farm system, maybe there's midway through the season, depending on how Mitch is playing, maybe Harry's an option that comes up and spells Cal midway through the season.
Well, speaking of optimistic things and hey, the sky is the limit. let's talk about these. Let's talk about these non-roster invitees.
Supercross this weekend in the Kingdom. The Coors Beer Supercross doubleheader. Get ready, Seattle, this Saturday night at 7:30 and Sunday afternoon at 2. The 1988 ANA Supercross Tour, Motorcycle Mania, on an incredible dirt battleground that treats man and machine the same way. With absolutely no respect. See the best. National champion Jeff Ward, former champion Ricky Johnson. Tickets at all Ticketmaster locations, including the Bond, Tower Records and Video, and participating Honda dealers. The Coors Beer Supercross.
So they're in the midst of this losing streak, and the Mariners go, our 2025 spring training schedule has arrived. Check out the full slate of games in Arizona. This was their fucking post. They were showing the Cactus League schedule. This was their post. There was nobody in there just to go, I don't know, let's hold off on that one. We didn't even get into these comments. Great series, guys. I genuinely can't take it anymore. Looking forward to it since we won't be making the playoffs. Fire Service, fire Dipoto. Who the hell cares? Fire Service already. There needs to be a serious discussion about Scott Service right now. Lauren Stewart says, Seattle Mariners, you got to love these guys, ... in Peoria.
Oh, God.
All right, we're talking about optimistic. Sky's the limit. Anything can happen. We're going to talk about the non-roster invitees to spring training here in 2025. I'm going to pull those up.
Yeah, we got 31 total. At the time of this recording, they'll report within, I guess, pitchers and catchers report in 10 days. So,
Woo!
getting to that time.
Getting to that time. So let's check this out. Pitchers, we have Peyton Alford, never heard of him. Luis F. Castillo, the right-handed pitcher. I wonder if if he gets on the team, what the back of his jersey is going to be. F. Castillo? Oh, I don't know. Tyler Cleveland, another right-handed pitcher. Hunter Cranton, right-handed pitcher. Logan Evans, right-handed pitcher. I've heard a bit about Logan Evans.
Yeah, he's number 8 in our farm system.
So
from a prospects perspective. So I think we have 6 of our top 10 prospects are invited to spring training.
I'll probably butcher this name. Natali Feliz, right-handed pitcher. Josh Fleming, left-handed pitcher. Here we go. Shintaro Fujinami, right-handed pitcher. Brandon Garcia, Brandon with a Y. Garcia, left-handed pitcher. Jesse Hahn, right-handed pitcher. Austin Kitchen, left-handed pitcher. Sarin Leo, right-handed pitcher. Casey Lawrence, right-handed pitcher. Adonis Medina, right-handed pitcher. Drew Pomerzans, left-handed pitcher. Darius Valdez, right-handed pitcher. Look, with the Mariners, when it comes to these pitchers and names I don't know that I'm not recognizing, I'm always going to give Pete Woodworth and the pitching staff the benefit of the doubt that somebody on this list is going to amount to something pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that's the pitching is where we are very strong. Not so much in the hitting. Let's hope that changes. But yeah, I mean the pitching prospects have to be top notch based on what we've seen in the past.
If you want to know a little bit about this Luis F. Castillo, it's Luis Felipe Castillo. He's minor league contract. He's 29 years old with 3 games of MLB experience. So that's, if you get the two mixed up, that's who it is. Going back, let's go to the position players here. Michael Arroyo, infielder. It's a name we've heard about. I think once we get these position players, I should say, these are kind of the names
he's
more
the number 4 prospect in the farm system.
Yep. Josh Caron, catcher. Never heard of him. Connor Charping, catcher. Nick Dunn, infielder. Here's the name. Colt Emerson.
Yep. Number 1 guy.
Number 1 guy. This is your top top guy.
He had a great Arizona Fall League. Went and saw him play, and looks like a stud. So excited for him. He's young, but eventually he'll be up here.
How's he? Does he look like he's maturing into his body?
I think so. Yeah. I'm not an expert in that space, but I would say so.
Harry Ford,
Number 6 on the prospect list.
interesting. I wonder if he stays a Mariner. There's a lot of talk of possibly him being somebody that's sought after for trades. If you're committing to Cal, what is the reason to hold on to him, do you think?
Yeah, I know. I mean, well, I guess we see what happens, right? Like I think we were saying, see if Mitch Garver works out as a backup, and then great. But if not, maybe we bring Harry up, get some major league experience, and potentially turns into maybe trade bait when we get closer to the trade deadline.
Here's a name we've heard a lot about, especially here on the podcast, talking down with the Modesto Nuts, our Modesto Nut insider, Lazaro Montes, outfielder.
Number 7, the prospect. I'm big on him. Like I think I was big on him when I first heard about Julio. So I hope for big things for this guy.
Catcher Jacob Nottingham. We have outfielder Spencer Backard. Another catcher, Nick Raposo. Infielder Brock Roden. Is he one of our prospects that's on the list too? I think I've heard of him before. I think he was on the Modesto Nuts.
Yep. Not top 10, but yeah.
Samad Taylor, veteran outfielder. Actually, not veteran. He's been up and down in the league. Mariners got him, I think, from the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, kind of seems like a Dylan Moore kind of utility kind of player.
Ryland Thomas, outfielder. Ben Williamson, outfielder, infielder, I should say. He's somebody that, if you're reading some of these articles, that possibly might have a chance to make the roster at some point this year, especially with how the Mariners have their infield right now.
Yeah, because he's a third baseman. Actually has a pretty good bat. This is a Double-A, but I mean, I think he's on the way up, progressing.
And of course, Cole Young, which I guess if you were betting for somebody to make the opening day roster, provided there's no injuries, I think if you see an injury to Mitch Garver, maybe Harry Ford's more realistic a name you might see. But Cole Young seems to be the buzz.
Yep, number 2 prospect. I think it's a lot of eyes on him during spring training to see how he does. Probably him and Ryan Bliss. I think at least he'll be in AAA, but with the potential to make the big league club.
And then here's some weird thing on Seattle sports that doesn't really matter. Michael Arroyo and Tyler Cleveland are the Dominate the Zone tournament winners from the farm system. One pitcher and one batter who each year were awarded a big league spring training invite. I guess that matters. I thought when they were, I thought this was some sort of like fun game they played in the clubhouse, and they just wanted it's the kind of shit they do on whatever Marine Layer and that Seattle Times shit.
Cornhole champions.
Cornhole champion. Great. Well, the big news here, just wanted to come on and talk about it. The big signing. This is our big signing. We're not lying. These are facts. This is the biggest signing the Mariners have made
this offseason.
Fight me. It has happened. But when we come right back, as promised in the intro, we are going to talk a little bit about the WWE Royal Rumble. If you hate wrestling, look, I hate you. Turn the podcast off. We'll see you on the next episode. You want to hear what we had to think about the WWE Royal Rumble that just happened right here in beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana. We'll be right back.
When you think about the Mariners, you have to think about the money. That's the only way you can think about the Mariners.
The biggest impact, if we make an impact, is going to come with the trade. That's just the truth.
But here's the thing. That's not right, because you guys aren't the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, you guys You guys aren't the Marlins. You guys aren't Tampa. By the fan base and the money spent, and you know, you guys got 32 different jerseys. You guys got more colorways than like the Jordans, and people are buying the shit. You know, I've been there. I go to Seattle every year. You couldn't tell me that you guys have made the playoffs once in the new millennium. With the revenue sharing and the money that you're making on your own, you guys are in the top. So yes, Yankee fan, rich kid, whatever you want to call it. To me, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't be saying, all right, we're adding 30 million if there's a guy that fits that you like, and be like, fuck it.
You're absolutely right. Everything you said is
You
correct.
You gotta love new WWF figures with real wrestling action. Jake the Snake Roberts versus the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
DiBiase lands a $1 Million punch. Match Hulk Hogan against the Macho King Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah, my elbow smash will finish Hogan, guaranteed.
Hogan slams him again. Match Andre the Giant against the Ultimate Warrior. Andre will squash the Ultimate Maniac. WWF figures so close to the real thing, it's like being in the ring.
All right, CJ, the dust is just clearing. The Royal Rumble has happened. If you don't want any spoilers, I'm going to give you 3 seconds. The count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're going to talk about it right here. First of all, our experience getting into the stadium was interesting. I'm pretty sure, I should say nearly, I probably got to go to a doctor. I think I have frostbite, CJ.
Yeah, you and me both. I mean, I don't know. I mean, been to many large events. I don't know if I've been this cold waiting to get into a stadium. And I mean, maybe we could have walked a little bit further around the stadium to find other entrances, but I feel like we found one, we stood in line, and then you did a great job of doing a little recon to see if we can get into a different line. Yeah, I mean, obviously your line worked out for us, which is great. Thank you for taking that. But yeah, I was just freezing getting in there, and I was so happy to get through those doors and warm up. But it was also just a disaster once we got in there. There were so many people there. It feels like opening day at the Mariners game where everyone's there and you can't move through the aisles. And but yeah, getting in was definitely one of the colder times I can remember on record for me.
Yeah, 60,000, 65,000 or 64,000 people.
70,000.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be up to 80,000.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah. Largest gate ever.
Yeah, largest gate ever. WWE never goes backwards. It always goes up. But yes, 60,000 people getting in. And listen, the wrestling fans and the wrestling community go into events far different than baseball and football and basketball or hockey, where the people kind of trickle in. No, they're there early. So those lines are insane. Everybody's trying to get. It is like rush hour traffic getting in there. And yes, I did find a shorter line. The thing was stand in an area where there was a little bit of sunlight, where it wasn't as bad, or sit in a shorter line with
massive wind tunnel.
With a massive wind tunnel in the shade, and it was fucking cold. And by the time you got into the stadium, you know, your body was tingling from the warmth that you felt when you got in there. But look, Royal Rumble, we had great seats. If you've never been to a Royal Rumble, there's a lot of standing up and sitting down. Definitely, we did with 30 competitors. Every time it hits 10, 9, 8, everybody gets up. So if you think about it, CJ, you did about 60
up downs.
Yeah. Chair squats up, down. I mean, your legs were feeling it. I was like, man, why did I work out in the gym this morning before I came here?
And the percentage of deleted videos of the names that we didn't want to see come in.
Absolutely. So the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, if you didn't know, give you a second here. Charlotte Flair wins. Oh, yes. Thoughts on Charlotte winning?
Well, I think leading up to the event, we saw a bunch of promos for her, kind of reintroducing her for, I don't know, maybe it's because of Netflix and there's a new audience. But yeah, I think it was I think a lot of people thought Io Sky was going to win.
That was me.
Right. And I had a feeling it was going to be someone else, but I mean, I'm happy to see some, I think you and I have been talking about it, some new blood, old new blood, I guess, coming into the female side of the storyline in WWE. And so I'm happy for it. I mean, we'll see what happens. Now she'll be in WrestleMania, which I think will be cool. And so we'll see what happens now. This starts the road to WrestleMania. So let's see how everything else plays out. But yeah, I think it was fine. It was a great Rumble, good surprises. And it was fun for the ladies' side for sure.
It is definitely a wrestling trope of you come back and you win this thing. It's like we've seen it before. We haven't seen it on the women's side so much where, well, I guess they did this with when Ronda Rousey came back and won. So I take that back. But you've seen this a lot in the men's Rumble. What I don't like is when they have them come in later in the Rumble and win. I guess the logic behind it is like, well, they just came back. They drew the right number, which the number in the logic is important. So yeah, she comes in later. She wins. Charlotte Flair, big return, came back with, I don't know, her third or fourth face.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's been investing the nip tuck.
Yeah, some wrestlers change their outfits. Maybe they cut their hair.
Some more muscles.
Yeah, some bulk up. Charlotte's just like, I'm going to come back with a whole new face.
Yeah.
She comes back. But the other thing I was going to say, like, they haven't done with the women that they want to do right now, especially with some of these legendary. And let's face it, she's one of the greatest women wrestler ever. Let's face it, she's one of the greatest women's wrestlers ever. She's the first woman to win 2 Royal Rumbles now. So on the men's side, 3 is the most, which is Stone Cold's, I believe. Stone Cold's got 3. So now they finally can kind of do that with the women's, like have this benchmark of a thing. The second match was the tag titles. What are they? The Motor City Machine Guns challenging DIY. 2 out of 3 falls.
Didn't see it.
No. This was definitely a head to the pisser, get yourself something from the concessions kind of stand. Don't regret missing this match. Moving on, title match, grudge match, ladder match. Kevin Owens and current WWE Universal Champion Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. What were your thoughts on this? This is your first ladder match that you've ever seen in person?
First ladder match in person. I mean, just insane chaos. You can actually, like, he feels like they actually hate each other. Like, it was a real fight. Pretty intense. I mean, the way that they're hitting the ladders is just insane. Like, I mean, we haven't seen anything after the match as far as interviews or anything. So, for the intent of how much they're injured will be interesting to see in these next, episodes that are coming up. But man, it was crazy, especially the ending. I mean, like KO going through the ladder and bloodied, and I think there's some things I saw. I don't know if you picked up on it, but like after the match, Cody comes around and like stands above him with both of the belts. It's kind of like,
He's
crazy.
Yeah, it's very Anakin Skywalker-esque. He's showing his dark side a little bit.
Yeah.
I like it. And listen, the name of the American Nightmare, it works as a heel if he wants to go heel. And let's not forget, Cody Rhodes was a heel with Randy Orton's legacy group to start with.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I'd like to see him just go with the dark hair again and be the heel. I think that's the thing he's going to do when he does that. Yeah, that was a crazy ladder match. I've been down to Money in the Bank in Fort Worth, and I watched those ladder matches, and that's a lot of people, a lot of big spots and things like that. Yes, but the storyline and the hatred and all of that in this was really good. And listen, whether you want to call wrestling fake or whatever, I don't know how you fake falling on ladders, even if you gimmick them. I mean, those things have edges on them. They don't feel well. And look, they're pounding these 250-pound bodies on them, and they're not even busting apart for the most part. And the ones that do bust apart, still, they're taking big, long falls. Yes, in that ending, I don't know how he doesn't break his neck in that, but definitely fun. And then, of course, the men's Royal Rumble big surprise winner, Yeet, Jey Uso. I am completely shocked. I don't really understand the logic behind it. He just lost a title match on Saturday Night's Main Event last week, but whatever. All I cared about at one point in this match, and I actually prayed to the gods, to the wrestling gods, the baseball gods, any god that would listen to me. There was a point where it was Logan Paul, John Cena, and Jey Uso. And I was thinking, well, they just brought John Cena back for this final farewell where he's like, I'm going to win my 17th world title. Well, they're not just going to give you the shot right out the gate. I knew it was going to be a struggle. He's going to have his story. They like to tell stories. This is what they do. That's not going to happen. So my logic was, oh my God, they're going to have fucking Logan Paul do this, and they're going to market it, and they're going to go after views, and they're going to go after clicks. The thing's in Vegas. They want to blow it up. I for sure thought for a second there they were giving it to Logan Paul, but I've never been a big John Cena fan. I respect him, but I will always be grateful for him for throwing out Logan Paul's ass. I screamed so loud. I mean, it rivaled any big. It rivaled the scream that I had when Richard Sherman tipped the ball. It rivaled the scream I had when Edgar hit the ball down the line. I was very happy. And then, of course, the one-on-one with Jey Uso and John Cena definitely surprised me. I thought they were going to give it to Cena. And when Cena hits the ground, that face that he made was absolutely classic in the way he felt. I thought it was well done. I was very surprised. And I'm glad I didn't fly out to see Logan Paul and spend all this money to come out to Indianapolis to see that.
Yeah, it was super cool to see in person. It's my first Rumble in person, and just, I've gone to many different events, and you only see maybe one or two of these like main superstars at these events. But at the Royal Rumble, you see all of them and have them all in one place at one time. It's super cool.
Yeah, it is. It's I think I enjoy this better than WrestleMania. I do feel like WrestleMania, the fan stuff they do is much better.
Yeah.
This Fanatics event here sucked. They didn't even like cover the walls. They put a couple of posters up, and it was like you said, you were mentioning, we went there and waited in this line to go into, maybe there was some exclusive cool stuff, and you were mentioning you could get all this shit on WWE.com for loudspeaker.
I mean, and whenever the numbers come out of what they've done for merchandise, they probably could have doubled it if they just printed more stuff. Like I was surprised we went, I don't know, not too late in the morning yesterday, and everything was sold out. All they have are small, medium. So I was surprised by that. So
yeah,
they need to do a better job of restocking.
Yeah, and you think with wrestling fans, listen,
small, medium doesn't work.
Who's buying that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a 220-pound man. I'm 6'2", and I'm easily I'm in the small side of these fans that are here. Definitely out here in Indiana. There's some big country Midwest cheese eating, grease eating motherfuckers out here. So if you wanted an XL, a double XL, a 3XL, even the largest were gone. I mean, just like, but the racks were full of mediums and smalls. I don't get it. This isn't, we're not going to a Tour de France Fanatic team store. We're going to a wrestling team store.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, you can get all that stuff online, but it would be cool if they had like exclusive. I mean, I guess they said I was there, but I mean, it's kind of a lame t-shirt, but some other stuff that's a little bit more memorabilia-esque, and maybe different hats and things that you can't get online that you can only get when you get to when you're actually in person would have been cool.
Those I was there shirts are always funny. I would be like, I was there. I would have it. I was there. You want to see my bank account?
Yeah.
Do you want to see my receipt stubs? Yeah, I was there.
I would say outside of going to the event and being there, I think some of my favorite stuff was the interactions that you had with your shirt that you're.
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to talk about that. Maybe put some screenshots in here if you can.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, the Cody Sucks Eggs shirt. The Cody Sucks Eggs comes from Kevin Owen wearing a shirt that said Cody Sucks Eggs. If you want to get into the history of it, he was wearing that when they were in Texas, where the Funk family, the Double Cross Ranch, Terry Funk, Dory Funk, and the Funk brothers were huge in the 70s and 80s in territorial wrestling, and they had a feud with Cody Rhodes' dad, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and he used to call Dusty Rhodes and other people an egg-sucking dog. And so that's where that shirt comes. So I had my sister make me one of those after I saw Kevin Owens have it. And yeah, my favorite thing to do, honestly, yes, was getting the Cody fans to look over at me like I was going to give them some sort of props and show them that. And you can tell it like really hurt them. Like those Cody crybabies are serious. And there was this guy decked out, dressed like Cody Rhodes that I just kept
with the mask.
Yeah,
everything.
and he had the whole American Revolution Cody regalia on, and I had that, and I
He
just kept
answered to
following him.
Cody when you called him Cody.
Yeah, he answered to Cody when I called him Cody. So he was deep into character, and you could tell at first he kind of laughed about it, and you could tell it was starting to hurt him, it was starting to bother him because we just kept running into him, and he was just like, this guy knows I'm a loser. And also, if you watch the pre-show or the post-show with Joe Tessitore, Peter Rosenberg, and Big E, you will also see the Cody Sucks Eggs shirt. Shout out to Simply Cora, who also makes our rye bread and mustard apparel. So hit her up for any kind of custom stuff. Maybe you want a Cody Sucks Eggs. Maybe you want to Astro Suck Eggs. Whatever. Hit up at simply.core. Also, remember to hit up in the clutch. Put in the code rye bread and mustard. Save yourself some money. And listen, when the season hits, no matter if the roof is closed or it's open, Tacos and Tequila always open for pre and post game festivities for the Mariners. With that being said, again, thank you for liking, subscribing, and all that good shit. We will be back. We're starting to ramp up now. Now we have no excuse to not talk about Mariners baseball.
Well, after that big signing.
Yeah, especially after this. I think the morale after what we read here on Twitter is up. It is up. Mariners baseball is back. Anyways, with that being said, CJ, you know what time it is. That's right, motherfuckers. Charge.